Turn.
So before I start, I was talking with some classmates at Rotman this morning, and someone said, "Why did you post on your Facebook that you're nervous? You were a radio broadcaster in Toronto for 3 years." And talking to sports fans is one thing. Talking to probably 300 of the smartest people in the country about to graduate today is a totally different thing. So hopefully I can live up to that. Firstly, thank you for the opportunity for my classmates for allowing me to speak here this morning on this extremely significant day. It takes an extraordinary person to commit to a program that requires you to be in class before 7 o'clock in the morning. Strangely, many of us weren't even morning people before we signed up. We were driven into this program as a result of families or jobs, but I'm sure if we were given this choice again, we would accept it and we would take the morning program. In fact, the past 3 years have taught a valuable lesson on how to balance priorities and gain the most out of life. I'd like to travel back to August of 2008 when we spent the afternoon running around the ROM. We were competing in teams to solve problems, we were vulnerable, we were shy, except for people like Jeff who ended up in the orange group and held a personality test. We worked together though, and it was clear from the first day that we would be part of something special. Our class bonded quickly, and we soon came to recognize that this was not your typical type A win-at-all-cost group of MBA students. I come from the world of sports where leadership, loyalty, teamwork, and integrity are paramount. And when you encounter someone from this class, you quickly discover that each and every one of my classmates possesses these values. Our class refused to let anyone fall behind, and when someone did struggle, we picked them up off the floor like a good teammate would on the court or on the field. It was this attitude that created the foundation for a series of lifelong friendships. But the greatest part of what has transpired over the past 3 years has happened outside the classroom. From exchanging financial management advice for babies with Louise and Deepta, political discussions at the pub with Richard, energy-saving tips from Harneet, or sharing a love of fun coffee with Andreas. We were always learning from each other. And why not? This is a group with remarkable backgrounds, from engineering to finance to law to physical therapy, environmental science to political science, the military, biology, and physics. We have covered the globe with our travels, and we possess a unique worldview. This is a group that has been there, done that, and they have the battle scars to prove it. Despite the rumors that 3-year students don't frequent venues like Cheval, we tore the roof off the back block during 90s night and managed to rack up a 4-figure bill at the Madison, which I had to cover because the PSL's credit card didn't work. So thank you, David. Allow me to add that some of the last people standing after grad ball were the students with kids. Nothing beats exploiting your parents as babysitters for an extra hour, especially after the coach has turned back into a pumpkin and the glass slipper no longer fits. Over the past 3 years, we've endured long nights and early mornings following long nights fueled by copious amounts of second cup coffee. Not to mention the crazy commutes by people like Tony from Ancaster or Chinkle to Charlotte, North Carolina multiple times per week. But the real story here, the so what, as Asher Drury likes to say, is the ROI from our time at Rotman. But I'm not talking about financial ROI. I'm talking about our investment into reversing Canada's declining population. Yes, despite all the added pressure pursuing an MBA, I'm proud to declare that the morning class of 2011 has invested in people, to the tune of more than a dozen babies born since we entered the program. That includes Nick and Vince, who overcame the pressure twice. For those counting, that's an infinite return on investment if you ask any smiling, sleep-deprived new parent still trying to deal with the challenges of a morning MBA program in addition to a full-time job. In fact, our class had so many babies, we were mistaken for a new division within the PSO. While we've achieved our individual goal here today, it would not have been possible without our families. So on behalf of my classmates, thank you to our husbands, our wives, our children, and the other family members who put up with our absence for the past 3 years. You were our support system. You gave us the strength to achieve our goal. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank the entire Rotman community, including the PSO, the IPSO, CCC, and other staff who enabled us to succeed. You nurtured us, guided us, helped us, greeted us with smiles on our face at 6:30 in the morning, or smiles on your face at 6:30 in the morning, and you sent us a lot of informative emails. For this we are thankful, but not for the email. To our professors, you are world class and you deserve enormous credit for making us the people we are today. You have told us that the highest compliment we can pay you is an email or phone call down the road referring back to a piece of learning from today. So I have no doubt that your phones will ring, your Blackberries will buzz with tales of triumph and stories of success from the seeds you planted today. So even though you gave us B's when we deserved A's, yes, Ajay. I get the last word today. So even though you gave us B's when we deserved A's, and the odd A when we probably deserved a B, you supported us in every way, so thank you. To Rick Powers and to Jim Fisher, you welcomed us into the program on our first day at Rotman. Your effervescent personalities and attention to people will not be forgotten. Rick was the father of our program, and we are proud to be the second morning class to graduate from the Rotman School of Management. And finally, thank you to our Dean, Roger Martin. Your guidance and leadership has established the Rotman School of Management among the greatest business schools in the world. You've inspired a new generation of leaders, a generation that understands the importance of putting other people first. When I received my acceptance into Rotman in the spring of 2008, I walked around thinking I was the smartest person in the room. Now as we leave here 3 years later, I realize that there are 300 people who are smarter than me, and that's just in this room. One of the great lessons we take away from our program is humility. Be humble. Too often we read stories of business people gone bad, the Enrons, the WorldComs, the Madoffs of the world, but what you don't often hear about is the business people who've done good, which is why I would like to highlight a few of the things that have benefited from the selflessness of my classmates, including the Canadian Blood Services, Room to Read, water projects for developing countries, Baysell Ride for Heart, and the United Way, just to name a few. These initiatives benefited because we at Rotman constantly strive to make the world a better place. We will leave our mark on this world. But the world is changing, and if we learn one thing here at Rotman, it is that we can also change. We can adapt to new ways of thinking, new teams, new ideas, new mental models. And that is something we can take with us into the workplace and help transform business in this ever-changing ecosystem in which we now operate. When we leave here today, we won't just be leaving with 3 new letters behind our name. We will be leaving with an obligation. An obligation to represent Rotman in everything that we do. An obligation to be ethical, because we now represent thousands of people who came before us and the thousands more who will surely follow. The strength of our degree is what we make of it, and our future is in our own hands. When I started my undergraduate program, I was told, look to your left, look to your right. One of you won't be here next year. Instead, as I look out here today upon a magnificent group of people, I can't help but smile to think of what is to come. Leaving this institution will be hard, especially for Migna, who has turned the fishbowl into his office. But what I will miss most are the people. Sometimes you don't realize what you have until it is gone, and as the weeks have passed since our final classes, you begin to understand why our time here at Rotman was truly special. Well, this is an emotional time. I would like to draw upon the words of the great statesman Sir Winston Churchill. He said, "Now this is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. It is the beginning of the next chapter in our lives, and a chance for some of us to start fresh, a chance for others to use these skills to continue their rise to the top. We must go forth into the world and support each other and support our school and continue to strive for greatness. So as the good doctor, Dr. Seuss once said, you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. We may cross the stage this afternoon as individuals, but we graduate today as one, as the Rotman School of Management's class of 2011. Congratulations.